Here is a number that should stop you cold: 80%. That is the percentage of Americans who have, at some point in their adult life, paid for a gym membership they stopped using. Not canceled, still paying, month after month. The direct debit clearing quietly on the 15th while the membership card sits untouched in a drawer, somewhere between an old receipt and a dead battery. You are probably one of them. And if you're not, you know 3 people who are. Now here is the question nobody asks out loud. If that many people are paying for something they don't use, who exactly is getting rich off of it? The answer is not who you think. And the way the money actually moves inside a gym is one of the strangest, most counterintuitive stories in all of American business. Because a gym is not a fitness business. It never was. It is a psychology business that happens to have treadmills in it. And the moment you understand that one sentence, everything about how this industry makes money and how it quietly destroys the people who get into it without understanding the rules starts to make complete sense. Before you sign a lease or buy a single dumbbell, you need to understand something that experienced operators figured out the hard way. There is no such thing as just opening a gym. There are 5 completely different businesses that call themselves gyms, and each one is a different financial bet on a different type of human behavior. The first bet is volume. Budget gyms, the $10 to $25 a month chains that fill a building the size of a grocery store with 5,000 to 8,000 members, are not selling fitness. They are selling the feeling of having access to fitness. The math only works if the overwhelming majority of those members never show up. One location of this type can operate with a skeleton crew of 3 to 5 employees, because the model is specifically designed around the assumption of mass non-attendance. Planet Fitness understood this before almost anyone else did and built a $1.8 billion revenue business around it in 2024. The second bet is experience. Luxury health clubs charging $150 to $300 a month are not competing with the budget gym down the street. They are competing with the spa, the golf club, and the corporate concierge service. Their members are not paying for a treadmill. They are paying for a specific feeling when they walk through the door. The economics are completely different. Fewer members, higher revenue per member, and an operating cost structure built around amenities that have nothing to do with exercise. The third bet is community. Boutique studios, the cycling rooms, the boxing gyms, the reformer Pilates spaces charge $100 to $200 a month, or sell class packs at $35 to $50 per session. Their model depends on something the budget gym actively destroys: attendance. A boutique studio where nobody shows up is not a thriving business. It is an empty room with a lease. The community is the product. And community, it turns out, is the hardest thing to build and the hardest thing to kill. The fourth bet is transformation. The one-on-one personal training studio sells results, not access. No membership, no monthly fee, just a coach, a client, and a specific outcome the client is paying to achieve. This model has the highest revenue per square foot of any format in the fitness industry. It also has the hardest ceiling, because a single trainer can only work so many hours in a day. The fifth bet is the hybrid, the mid-sized commercial gym trying to be all of these things at once, cheap enough to attract volume members, nice enough to retain serious athletes, with group classes for community and trainers for transformation. This is the model most first-time owners choose. It is also the model with the most ways to fail simultaneously. Pick the wrong bet for your market, your capital, and your operational capability, and no amount of good equipment or good intentions will save you. Let's talk about what it actually costs to open the doors. And I mean really open them, not unlock the front door on day one. I mean the full cost of turning an empty commercial space into a place where human beings can legally and safely exercise. Most first-time owners budget for the obvious things: the rent, the equipment, the signage. They miss almost everything else. Start with the space itself. A commercial landlord in a mid-sized American city will ask for 3 to 6 months of rent as a security deposit before you have touched a single wall. On a space running $8,000 a month in rent, that is $24,000 to $48,000 leaving your account before construction begins. In a major metro market where gym-suitable retail space runs $15,000 to $25,000 a month, the deposit alone can exceed $100,000. Then comes the build-out, and this is where the real surprises begin. Rubber flooring capable of absorbing the impact of a dropped 300-pound barbell without cracking the concrete underneath runs $3 to $8 per square foot installed. On a 5,000 square foot gym floor, that is $15,000 to $40,000 just for the ground you walk on. Locker rooms with the moisture-resistant materials and drainage plumbing that health department inspections require add $15,000 to $60,000, depending on the size and finish level. Floor-to-ceiling mirrors across a weight floor run $3,000 to $15,000 installed. None of those numbers are the expensive part. The expensive part is the air. A standard retail space is built for people standing still in climate-controlled comfort. A gym is a building full of people generating enormous amounts of heat, moisture, and carbon dioxide for hours at a time. Building codes in most American jurisdictions require approximately 20 cubic feet of fresh air per minute for every person exercising in the space, plus additional ventilation based on square footage. Run that formula on a 5,000 square foot gym floor at peak capacity with 100 people on it, and you need more than 2,000 cubic feet of fresh air pumped through the building every single minute. That is not a larger thermostat. That is a complete HVAC system replacement, and it costs $15,000 to $60,000, depending on the existing infrastructure of the building. Then there is the equipment. A single commercial-grade treadmill built for daily heavy use costs $4,000 to $12,000. Not the $800 model from a consumer sporting goods store. The kind that can run 8 hours a day, 7 days a week for 5 years without the belt shredding. A gym needs a minimum of 8 to 12 of them for a basic cardio section. Selectorized strength machines run $2,000 to $6,000 each. A complete functional strength floor needs 12 to 20 of them. Power racks, dumbbells across a full range of weights, benches, cable systems, accessories. The equipment bill alone for a properly outfitted mid-sized gym runs $80,000 to $300,000. And then there is the cost that virtually every first-time gym owner misses completely: the music. Playing background music in a commercial space in the United States is not the same as playing it in your living room. A personal Spotify subscription does not cover commercial use. Federal copyright law requires any business playing music for its customers to hold a public performance license from the performing rights organizations that represent the songwriters and publishers of that music. In practice, a gym needs licenses from multiple organizations simultaneously. The combined annual cost runs $1,500 to $4,500 per location per year. Skip it, and the risk is not theoretical. These organizations employ field investigators who visit commercial spaces specifically to check for unlicensed music use. Under federal copyright law, statutory damages for willful infringement run from $750 to $30,000 per song. A gym owner who assumed their streaming subscription covered the sound system has quietly accepted a legal liability worth more than the license would have cost for the next 20 years. Add the deposit, the build-out, the HVAC, the equipment, the licenses, the insurance, the point-of-sale software, the opening marketing campaign, and the working capital reserve needed to survive the months before membership reaches break-even. The total startup cost for a legitimate mid-sized commercial gym, $300,000 to over $1 million, before a single person has run a single mile on your treadmill. Here is the idea at the center of this entire business, the one that changes how you see every gym you will ever walk into again. Picture two members who both sign up on the same January day. Member A pays $49 a month. She comes 4 times a week, every week, for the entire year. She showers after every workout. She uses 2 towels per visit. She wears down the treadmill belt. She occupies a machine during the peak hour window when the gym is most crowded, which quietly frustrates other members and nudges them toward canceling. Her annual membership revenue is $588. Member B pays the same $49 a month. He comes twice in January, feels good about himself, and never returns. His card keeps getting charged. He never calls to cancel because canceling means admitting the plan didn't work, and $49 a month is just below the threshold of pain that forces a decision. He is still paying in October. His annual membership revenue is also $588. Now, which member cost the gym more to serve? Member A consumed approximately 192 showers worth of hot water over the year. She used 384 towels that needed laundering. She put wear on equipment that costs real money to maintain. She occupied peak floor space that affects the experience of every other member around her. Member B consumed nothing. No hot water, no towels, no equipment wear, no floor space. His marginal cost of service over the entire year was effectively zero. Both members paid exactly the same amount. This is not an accident. This is the architecture of the business. Industry research consistently shows that between 60 and 80% of gym members use their membership rarely or not at all in any given month. At a budget gym operating on the volume model with 6,000 members, the facility might be physically capable of holding 250 to 300 people at once under fire code limitations. If even 15% of those 6,000 members showed up on the same day, the building could not legally contain them. The gym is not overselling access to a room. It is selling a statistical certainty. The certainty that most people who buy the membership will not use it at the same time, and a significant portion will not use it at all. The ghost member, the one paying quietly from a drawer somewhere, is not the gym's failure. The ghost member is the gym's business model. Read that again. The person who shows up every day, uses every amenity, and gets genuine value from their membership is, from a pure unit economics perspective, the most expensive customer the gym serves. The person who signed up in January and forgot about it by March is, from the same perspective, the most profitable. This is why sophisticated gym operators do not secretly hope every member becomes a daily regular. A gym full of daily regulars would need to be 3 times larger, with 3 times the utility bill, to serve the same number of paying members. The ghost member subsidizes the active member's experience. Without the ghost member, the math doesn't work. There is a moment every gym owner waits for all year. It arrives on the second day of January, and it looks like salvation. The parking lot fills before 6 a.m. The front desk line backs up. Every treadmill occupied by 7 a.m. New faces everywhere. The membership app is processing signups faster than any other month of the year. Roughly 12% of all annual gym memberships in America are sold in January alone. It feels like the business is working. It feels like proof. Here is what experienced operators know that first-time owners learn the hard way. January is not revenue. January is a loan. The members who sign up on January 2nd with a New Year's resolution are the highest churn members in the entire portfolio. Research from fitness industry analytics firm ABC Fitness Solutions shows that of members who join specifically as a January resolution, up to 80% have stopped attending by the end of February. Not canceled, stopped attending. Still paying, which sounds like the ghost member model working exactly as designed. Except it isn't. Because these members cancel at dramatically higher rates than members who joined in quieter months and built actual habits. The January resolution member is emotionally volatile. They joined on a peak of motivation. When that motivation fades, and it fades fast, usually within the first 3 weeks, they feel embarrassed rather than habituated. And embarrassed members cancel. Or they dispute the charge on their credit card. Or they simply block the gym's number and wait for the subscription to hit a payment failure. The experienced gym owner uses January for one thing: building the cash reserve that funds the next 6 months. Summer is the dead season in the gym business. School is out, people are traveling, the daylight makes an evening workout feel less necessary. New membership signups slow to a trickle. And the members who joined in January on a resolution, the ones who are still paying but not attending, start to notice the charge when they're reviewing their expenses before a vacation. Summer cancellation rates run 20 to 40% higher than the annual average. The gym owner who spent the January windfall as ongoing revenue instead of treating it as a seasonal spike will spend August scrambling to cover a rent bill that the membership base can no longer support. This is the cash flow trap that closes more gyms in their second and third year than in their first. The first year is hard, but survivable because the owner is still running on adrenaline and the membership base is still growing from zero. The second year is when the seasonal volatility compounds, with equipment repairs, staff turnover, and a churn rate that was always higher than the original projections assumed. The third year is when the working capital reserve is gone and the owner is making rent with a credit line that was supposed to be for emergencies. Here is the part of this business that almost nobody outside the industry understands, and it is the single most important thing to know if you are seriously considering opening a gym. The membership floor is not the profit center. The back room is. Personal training generates gross margins of 60 to 80% in a well-run operation. Compare that to the membership itself, which after factoring in the cost of maintaining the facility, staffing the front desk, running the utilities, and servicing the equipment, produces net margins in the 10 to 25% range on a good month. Here is the math that makes personal training the engine of this business. A trainer working one-on-one at $80 to $120 per session, capped at 25 sessions per week to maintain performance quality, generates $104,000 to $156,000 in annual gross revenue. That is a hard ceiling. You cannot add hours to the day. The operators who figured out how to break through that ceiling did it with one structural change. They stopped selling hours. They started selling results to multiple people simultaneously. A semi-private training session with 4 clients, each paying $45, generates $180 for that single hour, more than double the per-hour rate of one-on-one work, while each individual client pays significantly less than private coaching would cost. The trainer's time is the same, the room is the same, the equipment is the same. The only thing that changed is the number of people in it. This model, small group training of 3 to 6 people built around a specific result, is the highest margin revenue stream available to an independent gym owner. It does not require more space. It does not require more equipment. It requires a coach who can teach to a group and a sales system that fills the sessions consistently. The gyms that are genuinely thriving in 2026 are almost universally running a serious small group training program alongside their membership base. The membership covers the fixed costs. The training program produces the profit. And the members who become training clients are the ones who stay longest, refer the most new members, and are virtually immune to being poached by a cheaper competitor. A training client who is actively getting results does not leave for a gym that charges $10 a month less. A pure membership customer who never attends leaves for exactly that reason. Let's talk about what actually ends gyms that were doing almost everything right. Not equipment failure, not bad locations, the wall. The wall is the moment when a gym reaches somewhere between 400 and 600 members, busy enough that the original space feels crowded during peak hours, but not generating enough revenue to justify a larger space. The owner is now faced with a choice that has no clean answer. Option 1. Stay in the current space and watch the peak hour crowding push retention rates down as members who want a treadmill at 6 p.m. can't get one and start looking elsewhere. Option 2. Move to a larger space with a higher rent that the current membership base cannot fully support, betting that growth will close the gap before the cash reserve runs out. Option 3. Manage the peak hour problem by moving members toward off-peak times through pricing and programming, which works slowly and imperfectly. Most first-time owners hit this wall without the capital reserve to choose option 2, without the marketing sophistication to execute option 3, and without the operational systems to prevent the retention damage of option 1. This is the wall that turned Bally Total Fitness, once the largest gym chain in the United States, from an empire into a bankruptcy filing. Not once, twice, in the same calendar year. Bally's did not fail because Americans stopped wanting to exercise. It failed because the financial structure connecting its fixed costs to its actual reliable revenue broke at scale. The parking lots were full, The memberships were being sold, and the underlying math was broken in ways that didn't show up until the debt came due. 24 Hour Fitness filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in 2020 with $1.4 billion in debt. The company had 400 locations across the country. It was not a small operation run by people who didn't know the business. It was a decades-old chain with professional management, institutional financing, and national brand recognition. It failed because scale does not fix a broken unit model. It amplifies it. A gym with 1,000 members and a full parking lot can be one bad debt structure away from insolvency. The crowd on the floor tells you nothing about whether the financial architecture holding the building up can survive a bad quarter. Here is what a gym's financial life looks like across the full range of realistic outcomes in 2026. A budget gym on the volume model with 4,000 active members paying an average of $22 a month generates $88,000 in monthly revenue, $1.056 million annually. Fixed costs, including rent, minimal staffing, utilities, equipment maintenance, software, and insurance, run $55,000 to $70,000 per month. Net operating income of $18,000 to $33,000 per month. Annual net income of $216,000 to $396,000. On an initial investment of $400,000 to $700,000, that is a cash-on-cash return of 31 to 56% in a strong year. This is why Planet Fitness has a market capitalization measured in billions. A mid-size independent gym with 600 members paying an average of $55 a month plus a personal training program generating $25,000 in monthly revenue runs total monthly revenue of $58,000. Fixed cost of $38,000 to $48,000 per month produce net income of $10,000 to $20,000 monthly, $120,000 to $240,000 annually. On an investment of $500,000 to $900,000, that is a return of 13 to 27%. Achievable. Requiring operational discipline every single month without exception. A boutique studio with 200 members at $150 per month plus class packs generates $35,000 to $50,000 in monthly revenue. Fixed costs of $22,000 to $32,000 produce monthly net income of $8,000 to $18,000. Annual net income of $96,000 to $216,000 on an investment of $200,000 to $450,000. The highest return per dollar invested of any gym format if the community holds. If you've made it this far, you already think differently about every gym membership you've ever paid for. Hit subscribe. Every week, we take apart a business that looks simple from the outside and find what's actually running underneath it. Drop a comment below. Tell us what you want us to open up next. We read every single one. Here is the honest answer, the one the comment sections of every gym video are quietly asking for and almost never getting. A gym works when the owner understands which game they are actually playing. The budget gym owner is playing a data game. Acquisition cost per member, churn rate, lifetime value, payment failure recovery. The fitness is almost irrelevant. The subscription management is everything. The boutique studio owner is playing a community game. Retention is determined almost entirely by whether members feel known, seen, and connected to the other people in the room. The owner who knows every member's name and their specific goal will outperform the owner with better equipment every single time. The mid-size independent gym owner is playing a hybrid game, and the owners who win at this game share one characteristic that has nothing to do with equipment or location or even capital. They know their break-even number cold, the exact number of paying members required to cover every fixed cost in the building, and they run the business with that number as the only metric that matters in year one. Not revenue, not new signups, not Instagram followers. How far are we from the number? Every single day. The gyms that close in year two are almost never the ones that ran out of members. They're the ones that ran out of cash while waiting for the members to arrive. The working capital reserve was spent in the first excited months. The January windfall was treated as ongoing revenue. The equipment lease was signed before the membership base was large enough to support it. The owners who survived that first wall, the 18 months between opening day and genuine operational stability, are the ones who are still here in year 5, adding a second location, building a training program that generates more profit per square foot than the membership floor ever will. The treadmill was never really the product. The monthly charge that clears on the 15th, whether or not anyone ran on that treadmill, is the product. And the gym owner who truly understands that sentence, from the day they sign the lease rather than the day they read it in a bankruptcy filing, is the one who gets to keep running.